I see you, Walter.
Walter, are you here?
I think he's frozen.
He
Okay.
doesn't have his mic on.
Um,
I think he's
looks like-
frozen as
looks like
well.
he's frozen also. I'm marking him here. Tina
Okay.
Sakala,
Here.
Here.
Cindy Mandini.
Here.
You're good, Walter.
Walter, you're frozen. I got you though. Cindy's not here, right? No.
Correct.
Steve Eisner,
I'm here.
Scott Ryder,
Here.
Tim Neville,
Here.
Doug McSillan, Tina LeBlanc,
Here.
Wendy Costa, Charlotte Riley,
Here.
Bethany Olette,
Here.
Melissa Everett, Jaime Cisneros, Jeff Leonowitz.
Here.
I don't see Chris on, but David, I saw you on. Are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. And then I also have John on and Donald. I see you on as well.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'll look out for anybody that logs on after.
Thanks, Tina.
Yep.
I'm
Okay.
here. I just have to move.
Oh, all right.
You were frozen, so.
Tina got us the minutes for the 27th. Do we all get a chance to review them?
Yes.
Okay, can I take a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Tim.
Second. Tim's first and a second. A second there.
Who was that second?
Bethany
Second.
and second. We have a second.
Walter seconded.
Okay, thank you, Scott. All in favor, raise their hands. No, and any abstentions? You have Marie and Bethany abstaining and Scott.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Did I get them all?
I read through them, but I was traveling that night, so I can't.
Okay,
All right,
Thank
so
you.
Marie,
Watch us on
Bethany,
YouTube.
and Scott. Okay.
okay.
Sorry for joining late. Wendy Costa, sorry.
I got you, Wendy.
Wendy's
you.
here.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, so tonight we have special guests from BL here. I'm going to turn this over to, I don't know if it's Donald or Jeff. I don't know. We have both people here tonight.
I will respectfully pass to Jeffrey, so.
Okay, thank you, Donald.
Yeah,
Jeff?
so BL is with us today. John Ireland's on. John, you can unmute yourself. He has a presentation that he's going to run through on the Jablonski Center and the rest of the facilities. We did a beta test earlier to make sure the screen did share, so I'll let John share his screen and talk to his plan.
So can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for having me this evening, and it's good to see everybody, at least virtually. So as Jeff mentioned, we have been through, refined the show. At your request, we've broken it into two parts. The first part being the Jablonski or DPW Center, and then the second part of the show is the other 9 facilities. And so with that, I will get started. To review, there are 9 total facilities that you've asked us to look at. First being the DPW Jablonski Center. Each one is indicated by a yellow push pin and located on this map. We can certainly come back and refer to this if needed, but that is included in the PDF that you will receive. I sent it to Jeffrey earlier. If there is any need to revise it, we certainly can. But at this point, we believe we have everything included in the presentation. So the two parts and the format this evening is part one is the Jablonski or DPW facility. And we've broken this up into our recommendations come first, or your recommendations and our collective recommendations. And then we talk a little bit about the enabling projects or sequence of projects necessary to put this together. We'll then look at the graphics for the project, and then the last piece of each one of the facilities is a timeline based on a yearly basis per year. So the recommendation for DPW for the Jablonski facility is to combine, there are 7, and we'll look at those on the site plan, 7 town-owned properties. And we want to combine those into one parcel or one central facility site. On that site, we're proposing to build a new fueling depot with above-ground tanks for all of the town vehicles. We're proposing to build an addition 4 buildings and grounds, as well as renovate and update the entire facility. New parking and site drives, and we're at this point proposing a covered photovoltaic array for the parking with potential electric charging someday. Again, this is a long-term, as you know, master plan. On the central site, we want to move the animal control facility, and then future study and at a future date, potentially add either a satellite or possibly a central facility for EMS. So to do that, one of the first projects is to move buildings and grounds to the central facility site. And by that, we'll talk more about that in detail. But that has been a long-standing, I'm going to call it a pent-up project. In other words, there is a current, I'm going to call it inefficiency of having one organization in 2 sites spread across the town. So that's one of the first and primary, I'm going to call it an enabling project. Moving the emergency services fueling to the central facility site is also key in that their underground tank expires next year. So again, there's some sense of urgency in proceeding and moving forward with this first main and focused project. Ultimately, again, the recommendation is to move the animal control or shelter animal control facility to the site, and then as noted, potentially in the future, moving EMS to this site. So here is the conceptual site plan. To orient you, north is, at the top of the plan. The current facility is here, and on this diagram, and you'll see on the next several diagrams, it's grayed out. So that is the existing facility. The additions are proposed in the lighter blue color, and we'll talk more about that. Employee parking is now designated here, and public parking is designated here. The facility functions well now, and will continue that. The recommendation is to have an entry drive for deliveries, which typically occur here at the back of the building. They can also check in, the lane is wide enough, check in at the front of the facility, and again, we'll talk more about that. The balance of the current DPW site is shown here. On the forward piece, on the Moody Road side piece of the site, we're proposing 2 new entry drives, one for entry and a second for exit. Approximately 58 cars under covered parking here, and the new main central fueling facility for all town vehicles is shown here. Animal control facility is here. I think there are other potential sites, but again, we wanted to propose a location with potential for, I think, ease of access and the potential to interconnect if it starts to make sense when we start to get in, or someone starts to get into a more detailed site plan. Finally, here is the Emergency Services Connect. Our civil engineering group has looked at this and said, it is feasible, whether this is a bridge or a culvert, pipe, underpass. This starts to work both with the site drive here, certainly be gated, it's already gated, but this would not be a public access, this is a private access for town vehicles. And then it begins to work with the grade. And I realize this is a dense looking document in that there are gray colored lines here which represent the topography. And so there is a rise of approximately 15 feet from the lower point on the now combined sites to this facility. And this works at an average grade climbing that slope there. So we've taken it far, or to a point where conceptually it starts to make sense. Conceptually it works. It contains everything in the recommendation, including the combination of what I will count as 7 parcels combined into one overall central facility parcel. I'm going to keep going, I think, in the presentation format because I know everybody's busy, but if anybody wants to pause, or we could also potentially go back. Don, I don't know, format-wise.
I'd like to see you keep going just because we're going to have to present this to council so we get how the flow is going to be in the chamber.
No? Okay. So I will do that. I didn't want to certainly ignore questions, but good, I'll keep going. So here is a diagram superimposing the additions and the changes to the current facility onto an aerial view of the site. There is a dashed line which helps us visually separate where the current building is today and the additions planned here and diagrammed here. We're also proposing to infill the current open courtyard here. What this allows for is a new public entry here, and we'll look at it a little bit more in detail, but also the interconnect of the facility across to the garage bays here. At this point in time, there are no detailed plans to change anything in the main garage facility here. And as talked about earlier, the delivery lane will shift over here, but the delivery lane will continue in the manner that it does now, around, circulating, and out here. So with that, we will look at the building. So the overall building is about 41,000 square feet. We're proposing approximately 16,000 square feet to bring that gross total up to just under 60,000 square feet. And so to do that, we're infilling the courtyard. We've talked about programming-wise, this may well work well as a central kitchen, as a central meeting space, as a central overnight facility there, as it interconnects with the garage and starts to lend itself to that. Maintain corridors, maintain the existing spaces. So the proposal is to put this 16,000 square foot addition on the building, and in doing so, create a new public entry here. And you'll see that in the three-dimensional, rendered views of the site. The reason we're proposing that is it keeps the public in a easy to find and easy to use location right at the front of the building. This would be the main, I'm going to call it a transaction, or in some cases customer service counter, where at least 2 staff members, and we've talked a little bit in detail about how that would function, would be positioned here inside the vestibule. The vestibule would be secured. There's a waiting area here. And the reason we think that's important is it controls access to a very functional high-use facility. The other piece here is that we are currently proposing doors here, which would be card key or push button, but access staff only here and here. So this is a public meeting space. For instance, your meetings that occur currently in the facility could occur here. It's a large meeting space. It could also be a ready room. There are a number of different ways to configure this conference room. Restroom facilities are here. Other meeting spaces are currently shown here. And so again, this is the public function. Roughly, buildings and grounds would start to occupy these spaces, and then there is 3 proposed garage bays for building and grounds. There's the potential, again, if it's as high as this space, to do high bay storage here. So that's what these garage bays are configured here. 2 different ways of circulating, one here, and well, there will be, as you look at the details, or someone looks at the details of moving this forward, interconnects across here. So that is the floor plan. Again, dashed line is the addition, infilling the facility for that total proposed approximately 60,000 square feet under one roof. So this is what it looks like as a concept. We've taken it this far in 3 dimensions to start to visualize the one-way in, which can stack vehicles here waiting to be fueled. There can be up to 4 driver's side fueling positions here, and we'll look at that in a minute, and then exiting both from this parking here out or around the fueling and out here. Again, keeping the vehicles moving at times when all of the town vehicles are extremely active, including buses. There's enough space there to move the vehicles through and keep things moving. Deliveries here, and then we'll take a look at the building. So this is as though you're driving into fueling lane here. Fueling is here. Again, we're proposing above ground. Conceptually, most fueling is done now above ground. There really is no cost, as far as we understand, no cost benefit of below ground, underground. Environmentally, it's certainly easier to maintain tanks above ground, and they wouldn't necessarily be those specific tanks, but we wanted to start to look at that scale. And again, we are not proposing a final design. This is a concept, but we wanted to take it as far as so the concept works. So fueling there, as I'm done fueling, I exit here, or if I'm making a delivery, I'm coming down this lane and around, or if I'm circulating vehicles on site, I have open site circulation here and maneuverability here. Again, we're not striping things. We're not looking at the finite detail of a concept. So if I'm the public, I now have a place that I know is a public parking lot. I have parking spaces. I can find the main entry. I will notice that the original entry is here, but I'm not overly invited visually to use that entry, and that's more of an employee entry there. But again, maintain that. This sketch or this concept looks at continuing, which we think is a nice building design, continuing the banded building design and continuing the articulation of the concrete block in the back of the garage bays there. So public is here. I've got a little bit of a gathering space was proposed, and then the main vestibule there. So overall, if you look at this aerial view, again, the lanes, parking, fueling, buildings in the back. The addition roughly is somewhere along this line and the garage bay addition here. So this could be gated to keep the employee parking separate from the public parking. But again, a concept starting to make things easy and obvious for using this facility in a number of different ways. So here's the current facility, and quite frankly, it's utilizing every inch on this site. And that is part of the reason that we're proposing to combine all of the sites together so that the site is now able to be expanded and to incorporate, further use across at least a 10-year timeline, if not longer. And this is what I mean by, as far as utilization, there really is nowhere to go. If this were to remain today as a parcel, there's really nowhere to expand. So again, the proposal is to drop the property lines and combine everything into one site. We've totaled up the buildings, and we're about to provide you the AutoCAD drawings that we prepared based on the existing information, and those are configured there. So here is the timeline. Year one, and right away, I think the first step is to submit this consolidated site plan to planning and zoning for approval. That in of itself is a process, but that is the first step. Building and grounds, again, we think that there is a reason to do that right away. Again, get everybody together under roughly one roof, because we are proposing that part of buildings and ground would go to the Enfield Annex. Locate the above ground fueling tank for the emergency services, for police services on site, because that tank is due to be replaced, and then begin the preliminary design of both the site and the building. Year 2, finalize that design and include the phasing. A project like this does need to be carefully planned for phasing in a highly operational facility. So that should be part of the design process. And at this point, we're recommending your process, which is a public bid to a GC with a set of construction documents. We think that the animal control facility could be designed, constructed, and moved in that year 2. Again, a very simple building, could be pre-engineered, and could happen fairly quickly. Years 3 and 4 would be the phased construction. And again, it probably will take every bit of 2 years to do this and sequence through all of the steps to build the facility. There is no reason specifically to rush building the culvert or the bridge. It could happen in that 3 to 4 year time frame, or it could wait and happen at a later date. At that time, then begin the EMS master plan, either as a central facility or as a satellite to the current facility as a central facility. Again, we're not trying to determine that. We are saying that this site, now that it's combined, offers the opportunity to either put a satellite or a central EMS facility. And then in years 6 and 8, design and construct that central facility. So Donna, maybe I'll pause there because that is the end of first phase.
Thanks, John, because I envisioned that we would go to the council on 2 separate evenings, one with the Jablonski and one with the rest of the buildings. I just feel like this is a lot for everyone who hasn't been involved in a day-to-day basis to absorb. So
Okay.
Let's open it up to questions. Just speak, because all I have is a little thing down the screen. So if anyone has any questions.
Marie.
Okay, Marie, go ahead.
I like what I'm seeing. I don't know if I agree with just showing them the Jablonski when we go in front of council. I think I like the idea of telling them that it's going to be a six to 8 year plan. I like the idea of building and grounds moving over because it's a parcel that maybe we could get on the real estate block. We've been talking about it. So, I think at this point, the public needs to know that we're not just going to take buildings and let them sit empty. So if we're going to say that we're going to move Jablonski, I think it does need to get moved. It needs to go on the real estate block. I'm not really sure what the property around animal control would be worth. I'm not really familiar with what it would.
It's next to the sewer treatment plant, Marie.
Right. So, I mean,
it probably just get merged to that.
Exactly. So, but I mean, I do think when you go before council, you have to let them know that this is the whole plan. It's not just Jablonski. We're going to be looking to move forward. So that the
if we
public
can do it in a good time frame, I think that's possible, but I don't want to lose the audience over, because if we go for an hour, I don't know. Well, we'll see the rest. It may be, Marie, you're right, and we'll agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay.
This is Scott.
Hi, Scott. Go ahead.
Hi. No, I just wanted to say I agree with Marie in the fact that we don't want to just show them 1 or 2 pieces of the whole puzzle. And if we kind of don't show how things will fall into place by doing A and B and we don't show them C, D, and E, I don't know if that gives them the whole picture. Maybe the whole picture is a smaller piece of the presentation, but without knowing what's going to end up where, it kind of defeats the purpose of just saying, these 2 things are happening, but they're also part of these other 6.
So maybe we need a special meeting that's just for the master plan for the facilities, because we need at this point, the input from the council. So I think maybe you 2 are right. So I'm open for change.
Donna, it's Tim.
Tim, go ahead.
I agree and disagree with both of them. My concern is that we're used to it and we've seen all this stuff. And I think we have a lot of questions because there's 9 pieces
I
that
know,
go together.
Right. Do we have
And
any
I'm just-
questions on this for John so that he can get on to the next part and then we can debate how we present it? Because I'm
I have a
sorry, I got us
I've-
off track.
I got a question about the solar, the proposed solar, if that's okay. I noticed that in the conceptual plan, you have solar above the parking spaces for the staff, and that's one thing. What percentage of that what percentage of the electrical need is going to be covered by that? Or do you have any idea?
Don't have any specific calculations, Tim, at this time. I think the other opportunity is on the new roof.
That was my next question.
Right.
The assumption would be that would be structured, the structure would be able to handle additional solar
Yes.
construction. Okay, thank you very much.
And I think just to bring it on home, the concept here is that someday you and hopefully everybody else is migrating towards electric vehicles and charging and photovoltaic. And again, as a 10-year plan, this says, yes, you are proposing that. I can also add the point about it can go on the main building as well.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, energy independent would be a great selling point.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tim. Anybody else? Questions, comments? I don't see any hands raised. I'm gonna send John on to the next part. Okay,
Okay. So part two, and again, the second half of the master plan are the other 9 facilities. And so we're going to start with building and grounds and then work our way through the rest. So at buildings and ground on Prospect Street, we do propose to close the facility and move buildings and grounds to both the Jablonski facility and the Enfield Annex. And in fact, I think the wood shop is already there in the Enfield Annex. Finalize the staff personnel program for relocation. There's some detailed work to be done there with inventory of vehicles, equipment, et cetera. Identify the specific locations on a temporary basis. And again, we think it's important enough that everybody is starting to work together under one roof. Not ideal without the addition, but it does start to say that this is what is going to happen with the overall public works group, I'm going to call it. So one of the enabling projects is to program the Town Hall Annex and Jablonski for that move, design and construct the addition to Jablonski and the site improvements, and then close 52 Prospect Street. So here is 52 Prospect Street. You are currently using this building, and I'm going to call it 3 buildings. We know these are co-joined. This too is a highly utilized site. And as we're going to see in the next slide, you're using every inch of it. And it really is at capacity, no room for expansion. And its effective utilization, I think the day is done there for its use as an efficient town facility. You've done a great job of being efficient and using it. But again, everybody under one roof, everybody working as part of a greater group, and then the combined and shared resources of everything from the vehicles to putting equipment onto the vehicles, again, under one roof, as opposed to 2 separate facilities. Again, I won't spend time. Square footage, you have about 10,000 square feet, and that's what's led to the approximate 16,000 square feet at Jablonski. So we are proposing that should happen right away on a temporary basis, and then this property can be turned over to the town attorneys and the real estate for sale. So that's building and grounds. The second piece of the second part is the Town Hall Annex, and we are proposing a conceptual site and building design to fully utilize this facility. We're going to review and approve the conceptual program uses in this master plan. We do need to formalize the total area needed for the proposed program uses for each of the town departments that are currently in this facility. Again, you're using it, and we want to firm that up and look at the best utilization. So the proposal is to renovate and effectively divide the building into town functions and into office space. The town does need to determine the process for operating, potentially renting, and the definition of office space. How is this office space going to be used? We are recommending that this building and the grounds, and it's not a play on words, but the playing fields and the entire site remain in use and operation. It is a great town asset on a number of different levels. So the enabling process, the town hall document retention, we're going to talk about that in a minute, is proposed to be located, I should say, at the town hall annex. We want to move Parks and Recs from the Lamagna Center to the annex and move some of buildings and grounds to the annex. And it may make sense to leave, say, the wood shop at the annex. So do need to design the town hall document retention area and design the office space and then construct that. So here is the concept. And the concept, as we're going to see in the existing building, is to open the current windows. So one of the perceptions, and I do agree with this perception, is that the building appears dark with not a lot of windows. So the idea is to take out what is currently a window band and insert stacked or possibly curtain wall. For those that know the construction type, curtain wall is a way of stacking glass and allowing a lot of light. This concept starts to show multiple entry points, which is possible, could be office suites. And it is showing all 3 floors of this end of the building. So there is currently parking here. And again, as a concept, we're not trying to design at this point, but it makes sense to start to link either both or one of these parking areas to this new office block, if you will, on this end of the building. So what does that look like inside? Here is the concept, and we're on the roughly the 3rd floor, and this was currently a banded window, and I'm going to say it's about here. But taking that out, opening this up floor to floor, and allowing the daylight into the office space. As you can see, it does bring a lot of daylight in and changes the perception of this space. The second part of this is in this same office is to start to show clear story windows here and a glazed door here. Again, I think that will help to bring daylight in and change the perception of daylight in this space. The third concept here is to open up what is currently the library and the skylit space and to open that space up and allow daylight into the interior of this building. So I'm going to go back one quickly. This clear story light in this office is looking out and through into this space here, which allows daylight into the building. And again, the perception of this would be a dark enclosed corridor. And the idea is to open it up and allow daylight. But the planning concept of the core to depth ratio here changes. So now the office is the depth to the core, and it opens things up a great deal. So here is the current facility, and what we just saw is the concept here. And so that courtyard would be roughly configured here. The existing mechanical units would remain. I think, again, they function. They're starting to get out of date. But to open this up and skylight, or perhaps even leave it open, again, it's a concept, but that allows daylight down into the core of this building. Here's what I was talking about, taking this band out. And as you can see, there are already windows. So this is not a big technical problem of opening a building up. This concrete band would remain, and the windows would be opened along these sections of the building. So we've given some thought of how to cost effectively bring daylight into this building. The balance of the facility, I think you know well, and I know we'll come back to that on the floor plan. So here is the site. By the way, very well utilized site between the playing fields. Every inch of this site is used, although I found a couple of square feet here and a couple of square feet here. But in all seriousness, a very well utilized site, a great asset for the town. This area here would certainly not be needed for development. So the site functions well. And again, that's part of the recommendation, is to maintain this as a town facility over the long term. Gross floor area, we're not proposing to remove any floor area. It's about 210,000 square feet on 3 levels configured here. And so how is that used? Right now, and we won't try to go into each and every space, but there is underutilized space. And this diagram starts to indicate that these spaces are not really being used. Yes, there are a couple of functions here and there. However, you can see by the not in use spaces that there is opportunity here to restack this building and capture the open space. And so that's what we're proposing here in this diagram. And in this line, kind of across the 3 floor plans, starts to talk about office space here, which, by the way, can be interconnected. And we're not talking about taking out the doors. It certainly is one building, one facility. But the nice part about the overall layout is it has exit stairs here and here. Those are the orange spaces, which allows for easy circulation here. Elevators would need to be updated. There's no doubt about it. However, it creates this 2-part building that allows you to use it in 2 different ways, for town space and the potential for office space. However you define that office space. There have been discussions about rental. There have been discussions about other town functions, but again, to be determined. What lends itself now with this opening, and that's this white space here, is the opening allows the daylight into. And the view we saw was roughly from this 3rd floor office here. Could have been from the 2nd and possibly the 1st, but it was from this point here that starts to share that daylight. So how do we go about that? I think the first, and I'm going to roll back because I did skim over it, and I'm going to come right back to it, is that the varsity locker rooms make for an ideal document retention area. Heavy construction is already in place, is also, by the way, near the loading dock. Again, consideration for bringing in records into the building. This is the area that is now master planned for document retention from the town hall. So that is one of the first projects to begin to look at in year 1. And we'll talk a little bit more about that under the town hall. The town does need to start to look at that formal agreement and or understanding of how to use this office space, whether in fact it needs rental, what's the policy, and what's the budget. But potentially there is possibly an income producing project there. Move Parks and Recs from Lamagna here, and then some buildings and grounds here. Year 2, construct the town hall document retention area and design the office space. And in years 3 and 4 are proposed to construct that office space. So that's the town hall annex. We then move to Thomas Alcorn. The recommendation here is to develop and further refine the use of this building. It is being used by the town IT, and the Board of Ed. And you're going to see tonight, and perhaps we can finish it for the council meeting, the utilization ratio. We want to be very careful about number of staff that are shown here, and we just haven't been able to finalize that. And we've taken a pass at it, you'll see that, but I think we want to finalize that before it goes into final print. We are proposing to move social services to this building, and you'll see that's another facility that we are going to propose to close. So the enabling projects identify any other town facilities that can co-locate here at Thomas Alcorn and determine each of those separate functions under this one roof. This building then is considered as both a town and Board of Ed building, and there does need to be further thought about that separation of town from education. Again, not trying to solve it here, trying to point that out, that this building can function well. There is enough space to separate the two. Social services located here, and then youth services over to Lamagna. The site lends itself for long-term planning. There is enough space to allow for building and site expansion. I don't think you really need building expansion, but site expansion. But it is a good sized site for that. could be drop off and pickup. There's exterior space that needs to be looked at, and it could identify additional parking. So again, good long-term facility. Here is the aerial view. These courts, again, are underutilized. That's an area of opportunity. There is sufficient open space, playground. It is really a 3-story building in the front and I'm going to call it a 2.5, and we'll see in the floor plans, but a full ground floor and then partial second floor here, because this is the gym, this is the cafeteria, and doesn't go through to the second floor. But again, a great facility, well worth maintaining, keeping in your overall plan for the town. Here is the site. Again, well situated, well planned, room for some expansion, or again, there is nothing wrong with not expanding the site. However, if additional parking is needed, there is already a paved area that any planner would say, you know, it's available. So that is the site plan. Here are the floor plans. We're going to look at each one in detail. Roughly 53,000 square feet under the roof here. So on the first floor, here are the functions. Basically, the Board of Ed is using this space with Enfield TV here. That's about 1,000 square feet. Board of Ed combines, again, these are the totals on all floor. This is about a 25,000 square foot footprint. Gym is here, cafeteria is here, former classrooms are here. This was probably most likely the pre-K, the toilet facilities here, and classrooms configured across the front here on the first floor. As noted on the second floor, we move up, there's the open to the gym below, classroom spaces along here, and classroom spaces along here. So that is used by the Board of Ed. On the third floor, both the police department IT and the town of Enfield IT occupy this space. It is secure. It is not easy access. In other words, the public is not able to get into these spaces. And that footprint is about 10,000. And if I didn't mention it, second floor is about 17, and that brings us to that gross total of about 53,000 square feet. So the question is, how well utilized is this building? And I think there is an opportunity to create a greater or more compact utilization here. And one of the concepts is tomorrow, you could configure the cafeteria as open office space. So to give you a sense of scale, there are 14 open workstations configured to scale in the cafeteria. That would immediately create 14 new workspaces. A classroom lends itself well to being divided up roughly into 3 office space, roughly 10 by 15, a good average office size with an open plan here. So we do want to finalize this. At this time, we believe there are about 32 occupants. There are probably more, but I think the key here is to have the floor plans marked by each of those departments to say we have a total of X staff in those. So that again, when this is called final, there will be a good count and a good approach to how best to utilize this building. Again, great building. Let's keep it long term. So year one, the proposal is to move social services in here. And again, that's why the utilization is so important. Could they move into the classrooms? You know, is the Board of Ed? Could the building be divided on the first floor into 2 parts, public and Board of Ed, after school programs, et cetera? I'm not going to try to plan it or design it for them, but there are opportunities here to co-locate under one roof. And then years 2 through 5 to go ahead and identify all of those needs and put those in place in the Thomas Alcorn facility. So Department of Social Services is recommended to move there and then close that building and sell that property. So there is a little bit of enabling work, certainly the programming, and move Parks and Recs from Lamagna to the annex and get the property ready for sale. So here is the social service building. It is roughly, jump ahead, it is roughly 6,400 square feet. Has parking, adequate parking along here. And again, looking at your total facility costs and the running of multiple facilities, this facility is fine as it stands. But again, the goal here is to reduce, with excess facility, is to reduce the total number of facilities you're operating, maintaining, and keeping long-term. So that's the recommendation, is to sell this parcel with this 6,000 square foot, one-story building on it. Floor plan is here, and that would happen roughly in year one and could be available for sale as quickly as year two to the town's attorney and the real estate for sale. So the town hall, we are aware that there are current other projects being considered by other town agencies in review, and I think we support that. It seems to make a lot of sense. I think the key focus here for us is the storage on the third floor. It is inadequate. It is not adequately conditioned. It's not protected construction, and it's limited in size and loading capacity. You really have used everything you possibly can there. If other projects occur and there is space, that space could be used for staging of moving those records out, as well as accumulating them until the record retention can be built over at the annex. I think the other possibility here is other town hall functions could move to the annex. Again, we bring it up. There is nothing wrong with the way it's functioning now, but you now have the opportunity to look at other remote town hall functions at the town hall annex. So the primary focus is that document retention. I think both the policy, there is a state mandate is a strong word, but there is a state policy of document retention and securing that and keeping it secure, both from a construction standpoint, dry and dehumidified, et cetera. So then migrating that over. So again, nothing wrong with the town hall, nothing to propose there except to start to look at taking this roughly 4,000 square foot attic space and migrating it to a permanent long-term document retention. That would free that space up for everything from, well, I guess potential mechanical, or who knows, if it makes sense, it could be open for daylight and possibly office space. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but again, it frees that space up and gets that document retention area out of the attic. So that would need to begin in year one, and start to plan for renovating the former varsity locker area at the annex for document retention, construct that in year two, and then year three begin to migrate that over to the town hall annex. So seventh facility is animal control. As you know, the recommendation is to move this. I think there's a couple of reasons to move animal control. One, it's really hard to find. It's not that public friendly. And not that that should be the driving factor, but again, the idea of a central facility is that there can be an economy in both staffing, et cetera. Who knows, there may be an economy with, and again, they're very separate, but police, canine, and animal control, you just don't know until you start to look at shared facilities. And then this site, again, I don't think there is anything other than to combine it with the wastewater treatment facility. I don't think it's a very saleable piece of property. So designing a simple facility for animal control on the Moody Road on the central facility site, and then move that on over. So there it is, roughly there, and it is this parcel across here. There's the parcel. Again, nothing specifically wrong with that parcel, but you know, it's a long way to go, and it's a long way for a staff person to go. Building is kind of irrelevant. So timeline is, again, to begin that in year 1 and look at constructing that in year 2 and possibly moving and then consolidating that in year 3. And that would conclude 3 properties that would be taken off of your maintenance and overall facility maintenance and operational need too. I think the other factor here is operations of all 3 of these facilities would then be off of the town tax roll and I should say financial burden and ultimately the tax roll, again, is the goal there. So the public safety we had talked about, and the underground fueling is due next year. That permit needs to, it could possibly be renewed, but again, why renew it and leave it below ground when you have the opportunity to bring both together under one roof, let's call it, on one site. There's also the need to put a garage covering over one of their emergency pieces of equipment, a central command, mobile central command facility. And that, yep.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Sure.
I really apologize.
It's okay.
It seems that the JFK Building Committee has infringed upon my Thursday, and I have members that need to leave to go to that.
Okay.
Anybody remind Randy that he's the first and the third, and I'm the second and the fourth?
Good luck.
Yeah,
He'll really appreciate that.
It was a special meeting to just approve something, so.
Right, I called this meting tonight because we needed.
Good, so I'm gonna chastise you then. Good, 'cause we want Randy mad at me.
That's fine.
So could I just have somebody make a motion to take the meeting out of order? I really apologize, John. I did not know they had a.
That's okay.
Can I get a motion to take A, B, and C out of order in the middle of our presentation?
So moved.
I'm so moved by Tim. Do I have a second? Second by Wendy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now A, B, and C, make it quick, Chris. All at once, give us phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, our updates, please. Thank you.
No update. And as I mentioned in my email for phase 3, the rubber membrane has been replaced at Barnard. We had a meeting out there yesterday morning to review the condition of the existing chimney. I think it was last year, Jeff had a study done of the chimney, and it's in pretty bad shape. It needs to be, the cap needs to be completely removed and replaced. Besides just the repointing that we had included in the base bid this time around, there's a bunch of bricks that are just really disintegrating and falling apart. Along with that, we need to take the concrete cap off. I have a picture, kind of, if you want, I can probably share it to show you what the top of the cap looks like in the chimney. There's essentially 3 flues, and it's actually a fishbowl, so to speak, and there's 2 drains up there. So instead of letting the water run off the chimney cap, it actually collects it, which is a little unique. Something that you don't typically see, but it's what it is.
How are you going to water the tree up there if you don't collect the rain?
I'll tell you, that tree is really prospering.
Yeah, we now know why.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'll have this up on.
And Gina, thank you for alerting me to
Thank you,
the
Gina.
other committees infringing upon my time.
Sorry, I didn't
sorry.
realize you guys
Okay.
had a presentation tonight from BL, so that's my fault.
I know, and we're gonna have to, there's a couple of us that are gonna have to go over to that meeting, but it's at 6:30.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So do we have a change order required for this, Chris?
yes, so I was just gonna say, so one of the documents I emailed over earlier was a change order estimate for about $30,000 to basically remove the existing concrete cap and replace it.
Okay, which brings the total to that, what, about $60,000 for the whole thing? What did we were carrying for that? Jeff, do you remember?
We had $15,000, well, the contractor had $15,000 allocated to repoint. Or let's see.
No, I thought that was gonna be more than that. I thought we should have been carrying like 40 for the chimney, but that was just, I guess that was just me dreaming about real numbers.
I think I have the ability to share this here. Let's see.
Okay,
You seeing this?
now I'm seeing a black screen. Oh, there we
There
go.
it is. Nice tree.
Nice ladder.
tree, right? Really nice.
Nice tree. There you go, Tim. You finally know what it looks like up close and personal.
Yeah, I could see with binoculars before.
So essentially, so the proposal that I sent over is to remove this 6-inch, whatever it is, concrete cap in its entirety, form and pour a new one, but also to are dormant. There's nothing operating in there. This one here on the north side of the chimney is the only one that's operational with the one boiler that's remaining in the building.
Okay.
So the plan would be to again remove the cap, cap these 2 flues, cap these 2 drains that are here, and then build up a new cap. Put essentially a stainless steel, like a storm
liner
on top of this flue, and have a new concrete cap that sheds water off the edge, and have it overhang the brick for about an inch, inch and a half, so that the water doesn't, because as you can see here, it's flat, so the water just runs right down the brick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. There's no overhang for.
Right.
for
There's a lot of this
the
right
shed.
here. You can see this
There's no
crack.
shedding.
Yeah, and they're anticipating probably having to actually replace about 200 brick or so in the entire chimney,
Okay.
from either being just cracked or just deteriorating. So
Now I know why Donald's at the meeting,
why is that?
because you're giving me bad news.
Oh. Well, so there's 2 items that will offset. One,
Okay.
we had a $5,000 allowance in this bid package to repair any metal decking. Obviously, we didn't have to do any of that, so we'll get that $5,000 back. And there was some. Here's the roof section we just did. There's a credit coming for the plumber because of the time frame that we gave them. They weren't able. The plumber just didn't have the time to get in to the classrooms, remove all the ceiling tiles, and add the overflow drains as Tom had designed them. So what they did was they cut in roof scuppers. There's 2 on the north side, and then there's 1 right over here. And that's the overflow protection. So if regular drains flood, then it would overflow on the overhangs through the roof scuppers. So so there's about a $5,000 credit coming back for that. So in total, that's 10. Takes the proposal down from 30 to 20. So it's manageable. It's within our total budget. So it works. And there is the possibility that, I mean, again, this is just an estimate right now, that this $29,000 number does come down a little bit.
Okay. All right, so obviously we have to get, a change order processed, and we have to have it approved by council. So, or approved by us, I guess, as long as we have the money.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go to council. And this
No,
would
it
just
doesn't.
be- This would just be an authorization to proceed based on the estimate, so that they can,
Okay,
they want to mobilize, they're gonna look to utilize the Wednesdays and probably the Saturdays to do some of this.
okay,
When the kids aren't in the building. So,
Good.
we could get them going, and then we'll see what happens. We'll go from there.
okay. So, I guess I want to hear from Donald and Jeffrey, and then we'll add this to the agenda and we'll have to vote on it. Donald, you out there, Jeffrey?
Yeah, Jeffrey just came in. We're trying to work on this, Alex. Alex just gave us a call about how to meet at the same time, and he can't. He's trying to work on way out. That's why I was caught off guard with you. So we're trying to figure out a way to keep this meeting going, and he can't host. I'm hosting this one now.
Okay,
We're trying to get on the other one right now. So because Alex can't broadcast two at the same time, because then you got planning and zoning at 7.
Right.
So
well, they can wait for us.
yeah, they will wait for us. That's what I'm going to tell Alex, that we're just, and I'll send out something to,
Okay, but what do you want us to do about the change order so we can do it, expediently and correctly, Donald?
get it going, approve it. We'll
Okay,
get it.
so how much would you like us to, I don't want to over approve, but I don't want you to have to come back. So let's give it a cap of $30,000.
Yeah, we can do it not to exceed 30,000. I think that's.
Thousand.
That
Yep.
would,
All right,
Can
can somebody,
I think it'd be better.
all right,
When we
I'd
have
like
the-
to entertain a motion.
finalized,
Donna,
bring it back
we-
for approval.
Donna, we did get the change order copy of it sent to us. It's
Walter, I'm
29,800.
retiring tomorrow. I can't even breathe
Okay.
till then.
All right, well, I'm
So-
just saying, we do have an official copy of the change order sent to us.
All right, can we put that on the agenda? Do you want to read it to us, Walter?
So
We
make
added
a-
us a
make a-
motion, please?
So make a motion to add to the agenda a change order proposal by JHS Restoration Incorporated dated September 10, 2020 in the amount of $29,840.
That's okay. So that would be a maximum of that. Can I have a second?
Second, Tim.
Okay, can I get a roll call vote quickly, Tina?
This is just to add it or this is to approve it?
Oh, show of hands to add it. Yes, I'm sorry, Walter. Everyone,
Just everyone say aye.
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 Okay. Because
All
we
right.
don't have the screen yet.
Now-
back from Chris.
Motion to approve.
So I make a motion to approve change order
Second.
proposal dated September 10th, 2020.
Okay,
Second,
Second,
Marie second. Okay, roll call, please, Tina.
All right, Donna Susik,
4.
Walter Crucell,
Four,
why?
Gina Sakala,
four,
I can do this.
Marie Peisner,
Here, yes.
Scott Ryder,
Go ahead.
Yes.
I can't see anything.
Tim Neville,
4,
Tina LeBlanc,
yes.
Wendy Costa,
4,
Charlotte Riley,
4,
and Bethany Olet.
4.
Thank you.
There's none on the side for you?
Okay, so all in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Chris, you're all set. You guys can go to the meeting when you need to. And John, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. So I also sent the invoices. Are you just gonna act on those later on?
I don't have them on the agenda,
yeah,
unfortunately.
we'll add
We
them
can
on
add
later
them,
on.
yes. Yes, we will add them and do them.
Until 6:30, so.
But we gotta be done by 7. We gotta relinquish our time to the P and Z.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
very good. Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
take care.
Okay, John, go ahead. What
Okay.
time is it?
Yep.
Okay, we got a whole hour.
And we're on the 8 of 10, so we're doing well.
We're
Um,
doing great.
Doing well. So we were talking about the public safety complex, the police complex, and we talked about the underground fueling, moving that over and above ground, and then a mandated cover over one of their emergency operation vehicles. So the enabling projects, of course, are to plan for and put into place the above ground fueling tank. And the concept right now is recommended to be a pre-engineered and unconditioned garage space. So that
I don't know. I don't think we're on the broadcast right now, but yeah. So I host both committees, so I'm on both of them. So I was trying to transfer a host to see if we could fire this and then work ETV on 2 streams, and it did not go very well. Sorry about
They
that.
should have just come to our meeting.
Can't wait till we get off this stupid video thing. Okay.
He's gonna finish it in the next 10 minutes, then I'll.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're looking for Wendy.
I'm here. Tim's here.
Tim's here.
Marie's
Well,
trying to
I'm
get.
back.
Marie's
I'm
getting
back
on.
on.
I'm back.
Charlotte, looking for Charlotte to come back on.
Okay, well, that was fun.
Are we live again yet, or are we just
Wait
waiting?
a second.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
back on.
Yep, he just put the feedback on.
I'm back on. This is Tina.
Wendy's back on.
Okay, great.
Well, that was fun.
The only person who's
That's
not
what
back
I
on is
said.
Charlotte.
Okay.
Did we lose a lot of people now to this other meeting?
We lost Charlotte. No, they're still here. We're waiting for John to finish. The only person I don't have back on is, I believe, where's Scott Ryder? I don't have Scott and I don't have Charlotte.
As soon as we resume, I'm
And I
gonna.
don't have Tina LeBlanc.
No,
Tina's
Tina's
back.
on.
Scott, I
Okay,
think has
Tina's
another
on.
meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
We
think
didn't
Scott
see
has
her
another
face.
meeting as
Yeah,
well.
Tina
at
LeBlanc is
6:30.
on.
So we're just looking for Charlotte and Scott Ryder.
5. I'm only getting 5 of you right now also, so, oh, wait. Hang on.
Donna, I don't think Scott's gonna be able to come back. He's got another meeting tonight too.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, John. I'll text Charlotte. She can catch up.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Are you seriously kidding me? What's happening? You know. I see you guys, but like the screen just went away.
Tina, you're not on mute. John, you are muted.
Does anybody else's screen say the video is launching?
No.
No, John, we can't hear you. You're still talking and we can't hear you.
I can't see anything.
John,
We
you're
see the
muted.
presentation.
John, can you unmute yourself?
He's trying. He has muted and unmuted a few times. Log off and log back in, John. Sometimes that helps.
Yep.
I'm off the whole meeting again. This is ridiculous. You know, whole meeting is gone again.
Tina, we can still hear and see you
We
though.
can hear you, Tina.
We can see
I
you.
have nothing on my screen and I can't see any of you.
We can see you.
We can see you.
I
Tina,
can't.
You
see
don't look
anybody.
happy.
Yeah, log off and log back in, Tina.
Yeah, it's sort of like rebooting your computer.
I'm seeing nothing.
I came in on my cell phone because I couldn't get it on my iPad, so.
And my
That's
husband,
what
and my husband just put a 2-pound lobster in front of me.
I'm on my cell phone too.
Okay,
Can I,
so
can I interject one?
are we
technical
back
thing?
being able to hear you, John?
No, we can't hear him. Nope.
Hear him and he's not
Any
muted.
of you guys.
Go down to the bottom left-hand corner and make sure you're connected through audio.
I am, is that better?
There you
Yeah,
are.
we can hear you. You're on.
I grabbed it. Okay, good.
Hey,
Good, good, good.
John, this is Donna. Before you continue, I need to interrupt one thing. Donna, I just got word from Alex that that because the way this is all structured with Jeffrey hosting, that Randy cannot start or JFK cannot start until we are done. So Randy will have to just be in a holding pattern until we are done. We are informing him now. This is through.
Okay, well, we're gonna hurry, okay? We're gonna do our best.
I believe there's only one item on his agenda, so let's see, 6:45.
I can't mute
If it
myself
takes
now.
another 20, 25 minutes.
Yep.
But
Okay,
If you
can't
want to
mute
end,
myself
then we
now,
can,
so
then
don't
we
have
can
to
switch
worry.
over. But until then, let's get our stuff done and.
yeah, let's get it done. Come on, John, we're on.
I can't see any of this meeting anymore.
So if you can hear me, can you see the
Yep,
screen?
we're all there.
I can't
Except
see
Tina,
anything,
sorry,
so
Tina.
You're gonna have to just send me the presentation in an email.
Okay,
Thank you, John.
so it's out there. There is a PDF out here. So here we are at the Police and Public Safety Complex. The interconnect, just so you can visualize it on this aerial view, is across here, across this part of the site. The vehicle, I believe this is the command vehicle that needs to be covered. Fueling is here. So again, no real changes proposed except the functions of fueling, and then to add a garage covering, a pre-engineered garage over that command vehicle. Floor plan, roughly 25,000 square feet. Again, no proposed changes in the master plan. Planning year one, so this is one of the priority projects to move the underground tank up to an above ground tank. Again, planning and budgeting for the pre-engineered unconditioned garage covering the command vehicle, and then constructing that. Again, a pre-engineered garage can go up fairly quickly. It is the most cost-effective way. The goal is not to condition that. Again, cost-effective way is to cover the vehicle and not condition it. And then roughly in year 5, construct the connector. In the meantime, vehicles will drive around the site to the fueling. So emergency medical services. So this one, we spent some time trying to understand how to expand that site. And it's our recommendation that there really is no way to expand that site. There are a number of reasons why. It's combined with other facilities. There are zoning challenges, and you'll see that in the diagram. So we don't recommend expanding application for emergency services. There's also a history, and there are other traffic studies that, again, negate the idea of increasing traffic at this site. Therefore, we don't recommend, again, can stay as is, but don't recommend expanding there. Pardon me. So one of the enabling projects is to study that. What is the best way to create a long-term emergency medical service? Is it at a central facility with satellites, or is it from a central facility without satellites, perhaps? So again, there's options there. We're proposing that you proceed with that study and start to look at that. And then planning on, now that you will have a central facility site, plan on either constructing the central facility there or a satellite to this facility at the central facility site up at Slavonsky. So here is the site. Here is the project, as you know, the original and historic town hall. This site is combined with the school. You know, it is fully utilized. And again, it exists and non-conforming. Certainly the town hall and this building were constructed before the advent of zoning setbacks. And the dotted lines are a parking setback. And the dashed line, if you will, are the building setbacks. So again, that makes it challenging. You certainly could propose to expand, but from a planning standpoint or master planning standpoint, it doesn't really make sense. to go for a variance to expand there. About 4,500 square feet there now. So there's time for this. And again, we know there's quite a bit of projects in the master plan, but year 5 roughly and to look at planning and making that decision. Certainly the study can start earlier. This project is critical. There is nothing urgent about making that move, but in the long term, in the 6 to 8 year plan to construct either a central facility or a satellite to the central facility. And 10 is the central library. Again, our recommendation is status quo, maintain this long term. It's good for the neighborhood and the community. Identify any other projects from last study. Conduct other studies of what to do with the library. They do work well for the community. And there is limited expansion on this site, although there is some room to expand this facility. I won't say that it's not. It's a well-constructed one-story facility, has adequate parking. It is utilized. It's on the site with a pool. Some opportunity for expansion here, again, long-term, but it makes sense to keep this as a community central library. Again, about 19,000 in the basement and 18,000 on one floor for a gross about 37,000 square feet. So that is it. That is the total master plan. I won't guess at the timing of that, but that's the total presentation.
Okay, thanks, John. We're going to open it to questions and Gina, you need to leave, so go ahead.
Thanks. So I just have a couple of, I'm not going to comment on the whole thing, the whole presentation, but a couple of comments I do have is on the Fermi annex one that you did, are you suggesting, so building and grounds is all in one location right now, minus the wood shop, they're all in one location. Are you suggesting taking some of buildings and grounds to one location and putting the rest in Jablonski?
On a temporary basis, yes, but not on a permanent basis. The long-term solution, everybody under one roof at Jablonski.
Okay, because I must not have understood you because I didn't understand the logic of taking something from one building and splitting it up.
The only exception to that, Gina, just real quick, would be there's a wood shop there.
Right.
Right. And that, again, may be determined that let's leave it there. You know, it only makes sense to leave it there, not recreate it at Jablonski. But other than that, I know of no reason to leave any of the building and ground folks long-term at the annex.
Okay. I don't think selling any of it to office, but I don't think you're going to sell it to anybody to create office space there right now. I don't know that it would sell anyway, but by sell, I mean you convince the town council or anybody else. But right now, trying to say, hey, let's do some office space, I think it's really bad timing. I don't think it's going to fly. I just don't like that piece. Maybe 3 years ago, and hopefully maybe sometime soon. Right now, not a good idea. I think you're going to have a bunch of empty office buildings for a long time to come. So that's one piece I don't agree with. And social services, that's got to stay in the downtown area. You can't really move that. It can't go to the annex. It can't go to the other side of town. It's got to stay downtown. And honestly, I don't know that I like either moving youth services or Parks and Rec out of downtown either. But for what it's worth, those are my comments. I don't know how much this is gonna, I don't know what's gonna fly or what's not gonna fly.
Yeah, because the vision now is that social services would go into the Enfield Express.
Yep. It's got to stay downtown.
We're a moving target, John. We're a moving target.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, that's it for now. And then, are we going to be done sometime? So JFK will be able to start semi on time?
We'll be done shortly. Everybody gets a chance to talk. You got a chance to talk. All right, next person. Who else? Bethany?
I just think it needs to be kind of grouped with Jablonski, the animal control, public safety, and the EMS, the need for the future. Because I think that's the key part, and that's where the town is going to get the most bang for the buck. Where our biggest need is, and our ROI is going to come from. You know, the other part of the plan, I think, is there. It's conceptual, so it's just giving us ideas. It's giving the town council ideas. I think that needs to really be stressed that it's conceptual. As far as, you know, is the annex going to change programming 10 times through this process? Absolutely. It's changed 10 times in the last 10 months. So.
Yep. We're moving target, right? Thanks, Bethany. Marie?
Done. I have two things. I know right now we're leasing the Enfield Express, but if it does come to fruition and we end up acquiring that building, I was always under the understanding that we had room in the basement of that could possibly be for storage. So I don't know if we've looked at that, but I thought that was one of the ideas, that the basement there.
I don't recall that, Marie.
Okay, that was just one thing. The other thing is the Angela Lamagna Center. Again, Higgins Park is in play. So again, a part of the recreation was, I thought, going to stay within Higgins Park, and part of St. Adalbert's old school was going to become part of Lamagna Center, but I don't know if that's still part of the plan. But
I think that there's a split between youth services would stay at the Enfield Express, and what's recreation would go to the annex, is what they're looking at, or we're looking at.
so what would Higgins Park encompass? I thought that was going to encompass Park and Rec. Part of Park and Rec.
That would be youth services, and maybe they have some usage, but the majority of Park and Rec would be at the annex, my understanding is. So we would do everything, and that would make the Lamagna up for sale along with the Strand.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that. It was just my understanding that they would be using part of the old St. Adalbert's, that we were going to try to
I know, but
acquire
it's not
that.
big enough, Marie. It's not big
Okay.
enough. It's just a gymnasium.
Okay. All right.
Tim?
That's it.
Tim?
Lamagna Center, again, I echo some of the other people's comments. Youth services does not belong down. There's no parking, there's no access. It's just, that's not, but it needs to say somehow downtown. The Express or whatever, certainly comfortable with that, but social services and that need to stay there. Second point has to do with storage, long-term storage and document storage and stuff like that. Are we looking just at the document storage that's currently up on this third floor of the town hall? Or are we also looking at other, in school record storage? Are we looking at the registrar voter storage for the stuff that they need to have? I only say that because they approached me about that they're not meeting their current mandate, whatever that is. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But is that intended to go?
That's not meeting the mandate?
That's what I'm told,
Okay.
in terms of the types of storage that they have to have. So I don't know whether it's included in this or not, but I bring it up because it was raised as a question. Thank you.
Well, because if we could move the registrar of voter stuff to the annex, we could sell to School Street. The Pickens Library.
Yeah.
Make a great one bedroom.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, who else do we have for comments? No, Wendy?
Yeah. So I agree with what I think it was Bethany was saying about the whole presentation of Jablonski and the more encompassing of bringing more stuff into it. We've been looking at this for over a year now, I think. And so we have a lot of history and a lot of background. I want to make sure when it's presented to the council that we are stressing some of the benefits and some of the reasons we really undertook this, which was to look at our buildings and see what we could condense, consolidate so that we had fewer buildings in our portfolio. I know it's been briefly mentioned, but I just want to make sure it's stressed for purposes of the public. I mean, we know it because we've lived and breathed this for a year now. I do think it should be one presentation instead of two, although I do worry because, you know, I think we suffered a little the other night with Jeffries coming so late after such a long council meeting.
I think it has to be a special meeting.
Yeah, and the only
I
other thing
agree.
I would say is I agree with Gina about the fact that I think there's going to be a lot of office space on the market soon, because I think companies are realizing people can work from home, downsize, whatever. But on the flip side, it could also be an opportunity, if that space is set up properly, to be a sort of, you know, rotating kind of office kind of setup where you're renting an office for 4 people, but only 2 go in at a time or whatever. So it might actually be opportunistic.
Right, because we may need more office space.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
More separate office space, but yeah, I hear.
Yeah.
Those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, who else has comments? Comments out there? Walter, Charlotte, Tina, LeBlanc?
I'm good. It's a great presentation. It's, you know, it's a concept. That's all at this point. So
I would just say, this is Tina LeBlanc. My comments probably align with Gina as far as, and Tim as far as keeping social services where it is. And then, you know, the office space, I think it could go either way. There might be opportunities. It might be a little bit more tricky, but I appreciate the presentation and thank you for doing all that.
Okay. All right, I'll just wrap it up really quick. I thought it was a great presentation, and I really like, John, how you accentuate the positives of all the sites. And I think that's really important because,
Agreed.
you know, I think all of us forget to look at the positives. So with that being said, I think we'll look for a special meeting, and it's going to have to be in October. Is that okay with everyone? Because we have the ordinance for trash, the trash ordinance, the solid waste ordinance coming up, and that's kind of a detailed thing that needs to be done. So we're probably looking at I'm thinking it might even be the second meeting in October.
Fine.
I will be back in Connecticut, and I'm taking a 3-week vacation. I'm retiring again on Friday. Congratulations. My
You
4th
say so.
time.
You say so. You got that on paper?
Is
I
there
know,
another
I always
party
said the
for
3rd
this?
time would be a charm, but I guess maybe it's the 4th time. So I'm pretty excited.
Do you get another
So at that
retirement
point,
party?
John, thank you. And anything you need, you know, ask Jeff, ask Donald, and you know, they'll keep you on. But I think it looks good, and I think it's a really good plan. I think, you know, we had a limited budget. I think it's well thought out, and I think there's things that we know and we can, you know, recommend, like the Pitkins Library, once that, you know, the voting machines are moved out of there, that would be available for sale. And it's really in a cute location. And, you know, there's a lot of things that people can do with historic buildings, you know, as long as, you know, there's consideration of what they are. So now on that, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to go on to item E, which is energy performance contract. Let's go quick. Anything?
Nothing new.
Okay. And clean energy, Green Bank is coming. I believe they were supposed to come the 21st to the council. Now they're coming, I believe, the 5th to the council. So we'll have an update on that. And Melissa's not here anyway. So transfer station, quick update. You guys still designing and working?
Well, I have a very good update for you folks. Jeff,
Okay.
Ken Boulette and I met with Anchor on Tuesday morning, and they submitted some designs to us, like just our preliminary stuff. We kind of chopped that up, and then we kind of told them what we didn't like and then we liked about each one. Then we met again, and there was a concept there that just I absolutely positively loved it, and I cannot wait to share that with you folks on the next meeting coming up. It is really, I think it's really innovative. I think it's really something that is completely out of the box, and it is just, when you see it, the circulation patterns, the newer areas, what we can do with it, I think it's just absolutely wonderful, and would be an absolutely welcome change to our current status. I mean, not just 1 scale, 2 scales, or our newer building. I just think flow works so much better. Circulation in and out, the folks that just are bringing in cardboard, they don't have to, we can see all that stuff. I just think it is a really, really great move. So what I will need, though, is when I will present that again at our next meeting. What they would like is sort of an approval of concept, because they don't want to, they're at a point now where they want to take this and run with it and do the final design with it. If there's anything that we need to amend or change, or from the committee, that really needs to be portrayed then and conveyed to me, so I could convey it back to Anchor. Again, when you look at it, it's just, I really think you folks are gonna just get wowed by it, because I was. Because the first few ones were.
Wowed by trash. I love it.
So yeah, the first few ones, I'll tell you honestly, didn't really do much for me. But that last one, I was just like, that's the one.
The third one's a charm.
Yeah. Well, Ken Bullet echoed that same comment, and so did Jeffrey. So I think it's a really, really innovative way to look at it, and so I will happily present that next meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Donald, for the update. And anything on communications? Scott's not here, so we'll talk about that next time. New business. We've talked already about the master plan. So I think, I personally, I'm pretty happy with where we are. It's conceptual. It's not an end product. It's a really good road. It's got 8 years. I think, it warrants taking it on the road and see how it flies. So on that, Walter, you still with me? Could I get a
Yes.
motion to add the invoices to the agenda, please?
Yeah, we want to add the invoices from BL from last meeting, which, hold on, I'm pulling them up now. So we want to just add all the invoices, and then we'll just go through them.
Yes. Yep.
So there'll be, I believe, hold on, I'm sorry, I should have had this up.
All right, Walter, I should be able to check my email once tomorrow.
No, that's what I'm here for. So I have 4 invoices from BL that we need to add, and then 3 invoices that Chris Cycli sent us. So we need to add 7 invoices to the agenda.
Okay.
So moved, Walter.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Neville, seconded by Ms. Costa.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
Okay.
I will read each invoice individually.
Correct. Thank you.
All right, so I have an invoice here from.
And this will be a
BL Company.
motion for approval as Walter.
Yeah, this is a motion to approve invoice from BL Companies dated March 27th, 2020. Invoice number 1900317.00-10 in the amount of $7,000.
I have a second. Tim seconding,
Yep.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No opposed? All in favor. Next one, Walter.
So I have a motion to approve invoice from BL Companies dated April 24th, 2020. Invoice number 1900317.00-11 in the amount of $2,500.
Second,
Second.
Tim seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No opposed? All in favor. Thank you. Third one, Walter.
Motion to approve invoice from BL Companies dated May 29th, 2020. Invoice number 1900317.00-12 in the amount of $10,000.
There's a second from Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor, no opposed. We're now on to the next one, Walter.
So this is a invoice, motion to approve invoice from BL Companies dated June 26, 2020. Invoice number 1900317.00-13 in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No abstentions? All in favor, no abstentions. Thank you.
All right,
Right.
now we have a invoice from.
I'm just going to say thank you.
HS Restoration.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Sorry
Good
it took us so long.
Okay. It's all good.
It's the COVID timeframe.
No, I understand entirely, but thank you. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, John.
Look forward to the meeting in October.
All right,
Okay, sir.
absolutely.
Take care.
All right, you as well.
So I have a invoice from JHS Restorations Incorporated dated September 10th, 2020 in the amount of $227,734.57.
Okay, Jeff and Donald, have you reviewed this invoice?
I looked at it for a brief second this afternoon. But it would align with the amount of roof replacement and ripping. I wish Chris or Dave from CSG were still on, but it seems reasonable for the amount of roofing completed.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
And there's
Okay,
still
have a,
there's
have a
still a
second on-
balance. There's still a balance due of $42,399.43.
right. And Tim seconded it?
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All in favor? No opposition? No. Nobody abstained. Thank you. Okay, invoice.
I make a motion to approve invoice from Hibbard and Rosa Architects dated August 31st, 2020 in the amount of $250.
$250.
The original
Yeah,
contract was for $5,000 and we paid $3,750 to date.
Okay, and so it's for 2,500.
200, no, just for $250.
Just for $250, okay.
Yeah, this is
All right.
80% so far.
Okay. I'm sorry, Walter. Thank you.
No, it's all right. I'm just reading what I got here.
Okay, Walter and Tim seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And no abstentions. So all in favor? No opposed, no abstentions. Thank you. Last one.
And the
Walter.
last one is from our favorite guy, Chris Cycli, Construction Solution Group, dated September 10th, 2020, invoice number 2. And the amount of this invoice is $2,000.
Did we really check that one good?
Well, the original value was $4,950. We already
Hey, 2,000.
and we still owe them $950 after this. So
Okay.
we can hold up the $950 for a year.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to, yeah, we're gonna hold it up till the state pays us. Okay, Tim seconds that. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So. all
Madam
in
Chair, that's
favor?
all the invoices I have.
Hmm?
Madam Chair,
That's all
the
you have
invoices
for
I
tonight. All right, thank you. I'll print those up and get those over to Deb. And can I get a motion? Oh, meeting date, thank you, Marie. I have an error. It is 9/24, not 9/14. So that would be corrected. So our next meeting date is the 24th. And can I get a
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good luck, Donna. Best
Aye.
wishes.
Good luck in your retirement.